Winner of the International Booker Prize is Heartland by Banu Mushtaq, translated by Deepa Bhasthi.
This moment feels like 1,000 fireflies lighting up a single sky. Thank you from the depths of my soul. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done without you. Thank you, everyone.
Banu Mushtaq has become the first Kannada writer to win the coveted International Booker Prize on Tuesday in London. Along with the £50,000 prize pool, she received the honour for her short story collection, Heartland. The book was translated by Deepa Bhasthi from Kannada to English. And in fact, Mushtaq will share the prize money with Deepa Bhasthi for that. In fact, Mushtaq described this as a collective win of diversity while receiving the award at Tate Modern in London. Heartland was amongst the 6 titles that were shortlisted by the jury, and they described the book as witty, vivid and moving. Banu Mushtaq, who has donned multiple hats throughout her life, displays a collection of 12 short stories in the book that's written between 1990 and 2023. The stories reflect her background as a journalist, as an advocate, while focusing on the indomitable spirit of women fighting for their rights and demanding justice in a patriarchal society. I'm going to first play out the Soundbites of Banu Mushtaq and Deepa Bhasthi as they took that award, and then we're going to play out that very exclusive conversation that I had with Banu Mushtaq. Stay with us.
If I may borrow a phrase from my own culture, this moment feels like 1,000 fireflies lighting up a single sky, brief, brilliant, and utterly collective. To even stand among these extraordinary finalists is an honor to me. I will never forget, and I accept this great honor not as an individual, but as a voice raised in chorus with so many others. I am happy for the entire world, which is full of diversity and inclusiveness. I am happy for myself and my translator, Deepa Bhasthi. This is more than a personal achievement. It is an affirmation that we as individuals and as a global community can thrive when we embrace diversity, celebrate our differences, and uplift one another. This book is my love letter to the idea that no story is local, that a tale born under a banyan tree in my village can cast shadows as far as this stage tonight. To every reader who journeyed with me, you have made my Kannada language a shared home. It is a language that sings of resilience and nuance. To write in Kannada is to inherit a legacy of cosmic wonder.
The story of the world, if you really think about it, is a history of erasures. It is characterized by the effacement of women's triumphs and the furtive rubbing away of collective memory of how women and those on the many margins of this world live and love. This prize is a small win in a long, ongoing battle against such violences. Elsewhere, there is erasure in the media and people's understanding of works of literature, of translators, and the work we do to bring what would otherwise be unread, uncelebrated texts to new and very different sets of readers. Which is why it is so heartening that the International Booker celebrates and places both writers and writer-translators on the same page, so to speak. Thank you, first and foremost, to the International Booker judges for loving these stories and my translation of them. And what a win this is for my beautiful language. Kannada is one of the oldest languages on earth, and I'm ecstatic that this will hopefully lead to a greater interest in reading and writing and translating more and from the language. And by extension from and into the magical languages we have in South Asia.
Banuji, thank you so much for speaking to NDTV.
Welcome. Thank you.
Your writings have opened, your thought-provoking writings have opened up to the entire English-speaking audience through the translation by Deepa, and it really provided the kind of purpose that many Indian women were looking in terms of voicing their thoughts. And let me start by asking you, Banuji, how your writings are almost like a life's journey, chronicling experiences across 3 decades. How do you feel when it struck a chord with a global audience?
Yeah, I'm extremely happy. It's an incredible journey I have gone through, because all this started during 2022, when one of my story was translated by Deepa Bhasthi and submitted to a contest. It was once again the same process, long-listed, shortlisted, and it won the contest. The part of the package was one complete book of that author would be published in English. So afterwards, we could not stop the process. It went on, and it has landed in the Booker Prize Award.
Indeed. Your writings, many feel, are actually a reflection of your personal experiences, isn't it? Of many women in Muslim societies, in patriarchal societies in India. What do you think the global English-speaking audience found most compelling in these experiences, in these stories?
Yeah, global English audience, they were highly impressed by this characterization, the fiction, and the way of storytelling. They are impressed even by the style. They say it starts in an innocent way and gives an abrupt shock during the course of the story. And they are impressed by so many things that they discussed in my previous, interactions with the press and the Booker Committee, jury's speech, everything. I have come to the conclusion that it is a new thing that they are going through, because the entire stories which are in Heartland, they are socially committed pieces of their lives. They are individual experiences which have been documented by me, but it is not it is not only the real stories. They are not only the real experiences, but also it has grown in mind in a fiction, and it has come to this form which has been accepted by the global audience, and they are very happy. They are analyzing it, and they say this is not only it doesn't pertain only to Muslim women and only to South India. It has got universal quality. It can be applied to anywhere, wherever women are there. These types of issues, these types of turmoil, these types of emotional explosions, it can be traced universally in all the parts of the world. That is their, opinion.
Indeed, human emotion has a universal appeal, and you were appealing to women across the world, isn't it? Some of the conflicts that they have, some of the turmoil that goes on in their minds, whether it's about family, social pressures, and of course the desire to follow your heart, isn't it?
The subjugation of women. Yes. All these things, it has got universal characterization.
I'm intrigued to ask you why was it that you chose Kannada as your language of expression? You're fluent in several languages, but you chose Kannada to express yourself. Why was that?
The thing is, I am a Muslim. I have come from a traditional Muslim family, and our mother tongue is Dakhni Urdu. It is not as sophisticated as the North Indian Urdu, but it is a Dakhni Urdu wherein various colloquial influences are there. Even Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, and all local languages are mixed with this Dakhni Urdu, and it has got a quite different slang. And all my women folk, they studied Urdu earlier to me. But when I was admitted to school, I never studied Urdu properly. That's why my father got me admitted to the Kannada medium school. But afterwards, my parents, my grandfather, all they strived very hard to teach me Urdu and Arabic, and I have learned it. And I have translated from Urdu many books to Kannada. As Kannada is my medium of instruction, I feel it very fluent, and artistically I can convey and I can express in Kannada only, not in Urdu, not in English, not in any other language except Kannada. I cannot express myself effectively, fluently, artistically. Only in Kannada I can do it.
It's
That's why I write in Kannada.
It's the language where you build bridges the most, isn't it? So,
Yes.
you mentioned about translation. I want to ask you, the translation is actually probably one of the most challenging parts, right? Because you want to keep the essence of your writing, but also ensure that it opens up to a global readership, global audience. How challenging was it? And what were the kind of discussions that you had with Deepa when Heart Lamp was being translated from Kannada to English?
So during the translation, I took the decision that I should not meddle with her choice of stories, because all my stories there are about 6 collections published so far from 1990 to 2023, and among them there are about 60 plus stories. And I sent the entire volume to Deepa and asked her to select the stories whichever she likes, and she made a list of the stories and sent it to me, and I am comfortable and I am impressed by these stories, she told me, and I want to translate this. That's it. I said go ahead. I asked her whether she can make a choice of mine also, whether she can include it in these parts. 1 or 2 stories that I have suggested that also have been included in it. But I would like to say it is mostly the Deepa's choice prevails there. And she did it, though she is Kannada of Deepa's area and my area. It varies a lot, even in accent and in the
local dialects must be different. Local dialects must be different from Shivamogga and from Kodagu, where she is. Yeah.
Yes. Even then, and she's also well versed with Urdu words and English. Though she's known she has known English, but she also tried her level best to know that I have used a lot of Urdu words, because some of these stories are from the Muslim background. So I easily use namaz, asar, isha, janaza, masjid, all these things, they come as a natural and organic way in my stories. And Deepa, she mentioned them as it is. She retained that original essence in the translation also. And thereby, that is why even the English-speaking people also liked that translation, because that essence and taste of Kannada and regionality and local taste has been retained in the translation. That is also one of the reasons.
Indeed. It's actually a very challenging part to be true to the author and also true to the story as well as the audience. So it's a challenging task, which brings me then to also ask you about one thing, that how do you see your award, this recognition, acting as a catalyst in terms of promoting more regional literature from India? There are lots of other regional authors, their stories waiting for to be discovered. Do you think your award, your recognition will act as a catalyst for promoting some of them?
Yes, of course. It influences. I do agree with you, because Indian literature and Indian local literature is having high potential. And this potentiality is not exposed to the entire world, because it is only sectarian. It has limited to its geographical limitations. It has been adapted. But of course, my stories were previously translated to Malayalam, the Tamil, Hindi, Punjabi, these local, that is Indian languages. But when even English translation was also there, but in one bulk there was no translation of mine. So what happens is our local knowledge, local culture, local tradition, and local literature, it has it has to break the boundaries and move forward. These boundaries, not only for men but for literature, this boundary is not a good thing. It has to be shattered, it has to be broken, and it has to be translated into various other international languages, that too to English language, because from English it will be translated to all other world languages. That's why. And the major thing is, in India we are consciously ignoring the translation of our works to English. It has to be speeded up. It has to be taken up by the government, by the NGOs,
I think,
by the Sahitya Academy, Sahitya Pradhikara, etc. These organizations should take initiative in this connection.
I think it's stories like yours that act as that inflection point, catalyst for regional literature to be embraced in a larger way. And you write about the fact that English audiences should be exposed to some of the stories which are universal in nature but get trapped because of a certain language barrier, which brings me to ask you a question that many want to sort of come by, which is that literature has this universal appeal. It has a power to unite people, unify people across the board. What would you like to say in terms of several language controversies that we are seeing around in India itself, given the fact that language actually has the ability to unite rather than divide?
Yeah, there are, I say in India, there are about more than 700 languages. And most of these languages are Indian originated. See, language, it will be pleased, it will be accepted, it will be spoken, it will be appreciated by all the people. Now, in the entire India, people love to be multilingual. It's not a sin to be multilingual. But when language becomes politics, the politics of language, all these things are happening due to the politics of language. This politicalization of the language, and wherein there are certain apprehensions from one part of people that language is used to dominate and subjugate the entire population. That apprehension is giving lot of controversies, has opened up some controversies, and this shady imposition of the language, it should be stopped. That's my opinion. Because everybody welcomes a language, and everybody wants to speak in a language of their convenience, and there is no hatred against any language. But the politicalization of the language, that is where the problem starts.
Absolutely.
Consciously, it should be avoided.
My last question is exactly what we started this conversation with, which is about women's stories, women's experiences. What is your message to all the millions of women who've read your stories, who are watching this right now, your message to all those women struggling with several of those life experiences that you've chronicled, that you've documented in your stories?
Yes, I say to all my sisters, though in the course of time we are accused that we are talkative, we are backbiting, we pull each other's legs, and we are incompetent. All these names are named against us. I say, be conscious about things. These things are kind only. It's a political act. These things are kind only to, subjugate, as a weapon to subjugate it. I say we are not that bad. We are good. And I want all my sisters to get hand holding and to propagate sisterhood that will give very positive results, and we can celebrate that also. But diversity is there, I do agree. Let us celebrate our diversity also.
All right, we leave it there. Banu Mushtaq, thank you so much for speaking to me after that historic recognition of your work, of your writings, and I hope it opens the floodgates to more regional literature from India being recognized across the board. Thank you so much for speaking to NDTV.
Thank you.